Hey kids, it's the Mist and Fly here, hope you're well. Now, as our ex-colonial friends across the pond would say, I'm stoked or pumped because today I'm on a particularly awesome machine. This is the quite simply amazing Yamaha MT10 SP. So the SP means, I don't know what it stands for, but it means it's the super duper variant, and basically they've taken the already brilliant MT10 and slapped on it the semi-active suspension, the Ohlins suspension from the R1, given it the doozy full colour TFT display, and also given it a sort of an R1-esque paint job, and as I say, made an already brilliant bike pretty damn stonking. So really looking forward to getting to know this bike, so stick around and stay tuned for the next few minutes. This is going to be my first impressions review of the Yamaha MT10 SP. So before we get into all the fun stuff that this bike offers, let's get some of the practical stuff out of the way. Riding position, dead upright, lovely and comfortable. This one's got the comfort seat fitted, and it really is quite comfy. It's a nice perch to be on. Your legs are sort of sporty, not too horrendous though. Your knees are bent at less than 90 degrees, but you could ride this thing all day. The handlebars feel quite nice and wide, nice and upright. Really comfy bike. You could tour on this, no problem at all. Mirrors are massive, offering an excellent view. No vibration. It's got this big old 4-cylinder engine, so it's lovely and creamy smooth. Sounds brilliant. Suspension is of course eminently adjustable on this, and at the moment I've got it set in its hardest, most sportiest mode, but even in that setting with the semi-active setup, it still feels nice and comfortable. Okay, I feel the need to get past this vehicle ahead as soon as I can. Quick shifter on the upshift only works really lovely, and my goodness me, that's the first time that I've attempted to open the bike up at all, and the thing absolutely flies. This is an amazingly quick bike. Not a bike for the faint-hearted. You hear people say, you know, it's like a sports bike but in naked clothing. That doesn't make sense at all, but you know what I mean. Well, that absolutely is true in this case. This thing is quicker than many sports bikes I've ridden. Okay, I have got it in mode A at the moment, which is the most sporty riding mode. Comes with 5 riding modes, 3 of which are eminently configurable. Now, trying to go through the electronics on this bike is silly in a short first impressions video, because trust me, there's so many parameters that you can change on this bike. It's just unbelievable. So I'm not even going to attempt to do that, but just to show you the screen here, it's really clear. It's a really nicely laid out screen. It's one of the more business-like TFT screens I've seen. I prefer it, for example, to the screen on the Street Triple. This is much more like a screen that you see on, say, KTM. Let's get past this car, nothing behind. Even in 5th gear, she pulls like a steam train. What an amazing bike. I've been riding it for 10 minutes, and already I'm deeply in love. Now, the looks of this bike is something very much that has split opinion, because it's got that sort of Transformer, Tron-like look about it. Personally, I absolutely love it. I think it looks super modern and mean. When you compare it to other bikes in this class, I mean, the bikes that this compares with are things like the KTM Super Ducati, the BMW S1000R. Well, for me, this is right up there with the Super Ducati for looks. And on the limited experience I've had so far, and the power output of the bike, it's also up there with the Super Ducati on the way the thing handles. It's just a nuts machine. I love it. So as I say, this has the 4-cylinder cross-plane crank engine that Yamaha call the CP2. It's basically from the R1. But my goodness me, it's just such an easy unit to ride with. Here I am, doing 40-ish miles an hour. I'm in 4th gear. The bike just isn't complaining at all. It's as smooth as you like. Let's drop her down a cog or two. Sounds lovely. Not obnoxiously loud, just got a nice sound about it. My word, in 2nd gear, it just wants to throw you off the back of the machine. It is nuts fast. Now, it was about 6 weeks plus ago when I rode the Super Ducati, which was my previous winner on the nuts fast bike scale. I think this one has just eclipsed it. Okay, we're clear. Oh, Oh my word, it's got some shove. This is a bike you have to hang on for, or two. Gosh, I can't even speak properly, it's so impressive. You can't see it, but I've got a grin on my face as wide as the River Nile. This is brilliant. Front brake works fine. Not as good, it has to be said, as the Brembo M50s that I've been using recently on the Street Triple. That bike just stops on a dime. These you have to give a bit more of a pull to, but they're completely adequate. They stop you fine. And of course, it's got all sorts of levels of ABS and traction control on this, so you can fiddle around with those. The good news about this comfort seat is it is comfortable, and it's got a nice lip at the back, so when you do give it the beans and you get thrown backwards, you get a nice, you know, your bum grips on there nicely, and you don't actually feel like you're going to slide off the back of the bike. I like the way these, the other thing about the 4-cylinder engines is not only are they creamy smooth, but they're nice and wide, so it gives you a good, you can get a grip with your knees onto the bike, and it gives you a nice feeling of security and aids in the handling of the machine. Really like that about the 4-cylinder machines. I'm gradually coming over to that way of thinking. I have to say these mirrors may work very well, but they're a bit ugly looking. Not a big deal, I'm sure you can buy smarter mirrors for it. The quick shifter works really nicely on this. Okay, let's dispatch white van now. This is a properly naughty bike. I love it. I love the way the Rev Counter, I don't know if you noticed, but when you're giving it the beans and you're in the sweet spot for the power band, it goes green. See, it's gone green again now. If I slow down and I go too slow for third gear, it goes black to show I'm not trying hard enough. And then when you go out the top of the optimal power band, it goes yellow. See, it's all green now. And that's really good, because it means you don't have to look closely at the Rev Counter to check you're in the sort of sweet spot. Not that you need to do that anyway, because you can feel when you are. I think that's a really nice feature. Man, this is a brilliant road. Levels of grip off these tyres are lovely. The handling is beautiful on here. What a great bike. I'll tell you what, it's too bad if you don't like the looks of it, because it really is a good machine. If I had a spare 13.5 grand, I'd have one of these tomorrow. Lovely. What a hoot. Height wise, the bike feels relatively high, but I've got both feet on the ground on tiptoe, but it's such a light machine, it doesn't feel, in peril of falling over at any time. It's a very confidence inspiring machine. Nothing, again, difficult about it to ride. Let's see if I can pull in at the pub up here and show you around, talk you through the spec. This will do nicely. Again, no doubt when you're neutral, I love the fact you get these big green ends on these displays these days. Little stubby stand, easy to find. There we go. Nice display. Here she is then. The awesome, mighty Yamaha MT10 SP. I think an amazing looking machine. It certainly is an amazing riding machine. Okay, let me get the other camera out and we'll go through the specs. Okay, here she is then, looking resplendent in this sort of R1-esque paint scheme. Love the blue come purple wheels. Again, I think it's going to split opinion, the looks. Some people don't like that sort of thing, think it's grotesque, but I think it looks brilliant. And there's that front end that again splits opinion, but I think just makes the thing look modern and up to date. Anyway, amazing amazing looking machine as far as I'm concerned. So in terms of the spec then, as I say, the engine's the 4-cylinder 998cc cross-plane engine. In fact, Yamaha call it the CP4. I said CP2 earlier, it's my mistake. It's the CP4, derived from the R1 unit. Slightly different engine map. Just makes the power a little more accessible low down, which is where you want it on the road. And my goodness me, is there lots of low down power, as I just found out. Unbelievably awesome bike to ride. In terms of power, 160 PS, which I looked that up to find out what it is in the old money. That's 158 bhp. It feels like more though, it really does. Torque, 111 newton meters at 9,000 rpm. Again, that's 81.8 foot-pounds in the old money. Wet weight, 210 kilograms. Seat height, as I say, feels quite high, because I think because your legs are quite wide, and hence I'm on tippy toe, but it's 825 millimeters, but it doesn't feel at all intimidating because it's a light bike. Fuel tank capacity, 17 litres. Lovely looking fuel tank. Love what they've done with it. The colour scheme here looks brilliant, and just the sculpting and so on looks really nice, I think. As I mentioned, it's got the Ohlins semi-active race suspension, again off the R1. Let's just show you that. Sits down there, that lovely unit there. And similarly, it's got the active stuff on the front as well. You can see the leads coming out the tops. It does all the clever stuff with the stepper motors while you're on the fly. Massive electronics package, too much to go through on a short review like this, but of course traction control, riding modes, TFT screen, ABS, you know, everything, plus lots more besides. This bike really is hugely configurable. I was having a look through the various menu screens earlier, and you can absolutely configure everything on this bike. It's incredible. Let's just show you close up some of the other items. Let's just show you the engine casing, because it just looks like a nice bit of work. And there we can see the CP4 logo, which I got wrong before, sorry about that. The exhaust isn't too hideous for a Euro 4 one. Sounds nice, and it's not outrageously noisy. Brakes, it's got some Yamaha's own brakes. They're pretty beefy, it has to be said, and they work fine. They're not the same as the Brembo M50s, but they're perfectly adequate, it has to be said. Massive radiator and oil cooler. I think it's just a great looking bike. Serious looking swing arm. Definitely wants a tail tidy, but don't all bikes. And yeah, lovely thing. Alrighty, enough chat. Let's get back on again, experience some more of this incredible riding that this bike offers. Tell you what, I'm a little bit lost for words with this review, because this bike is just insane. It's nuts. I love it. Right, let's get her going again. Great display there. Oh yeah, it's worth, while we've just stopped actually and can look at some of the switchgear here, it's great to note that this is proper switchgear, you know, proper tactile stuff that you can feel when it's turned on and off, which is great. You know, you can actually, it's not that PCB type stuff where it's just pressing on a printed circuit board. In order to change modes and stuff, you've got this little, well, not to change modes actually, this is the mode switch here. You see it says mode A, you just literally press this button, see, mode B, and so on through the modes, and you're instantly into that mode. You can't change them on the fly, you have to stop to do that. But what you can do on the fly is change the various parameters within the mode. So you can use this little switch here that says mode on it. You see, if you press it, it flicks you through the various parameters that are changeable. So the power level, the traction control, and the suspension settings. This is in the semi-active mode 2 at the moment, and you can change, put it into mode A. I can change that by using this little whiz wheel here. No, I can't. Use the button here again, sorry, my mistake, to take you to mode A1 or A2 in terms of the suspension. So I'm going to try it in A1. Okay, and then for the other parameters here, there are various trips and so on. You use this little whiz wheel, little tiny one on the right hand bar, that flips you through the various you know, trip computer functions, all the usual stuff. Great, the wheel is so much better than the joystick. I think all manufacturers should be using wheels instead of joysticks. Okay, let's turn around, get out back on the road. Even at slow speeds, she's really easy to ride. You know, you could ride this through town, commute, filter, wouldn't be a problem. Right, well, there's not too much more to say about this bike, because I think you will have got the impression by now that I'm really impressed with it. It's just a stonking machine. I love it. I'm just going to enjoy riding up this road in a minute. It's one of my favourite local twisty roads. If that truck doesn't get in the way and spoil my enjoyment. It's one of those bikes that you know overtaking is never going to be an issue. Some sort of camera rig. What is that? Vision for highways. I've never seen such a thing. Let's hope the police aren't on the end of it. Okay, so this bit of road I love. Because you've got a bit of really nice turns up here, and you've got two carriageways once it tightens up on this side, so if you do get it wrong you've got a bit of leeway to run a bit wider like that, you see. This is definitely one of those bikes that falls into the category of really needing to take it on track to properly experience what it's got to offer. My word, even on the road it is good fun. You've just got to rein it in so you're not doing silly speeds all the time. That Rev Counter colour coding is genius, because even though I'm looking firmly at the road, I can just see out the corner of my eye when that changes to orange. So what I could really do with is begging Yamaha to let me borrow one of these for a few weeks so I can do some proper in-depth reviews on the bike, in particular the electronics package and everything that that can do with the configuration. I'd love to look at in more depth, but sadly on a quick test ride like this I haven't got a chance to do that, but just take my word for it, you could do a lot with this bike. I've got to say huge thanks to the team at Brian Gray Powersports in High Wycombe, Sam and Co, for letting me borrow this amazing machine. Just a brilliant bike, and big thanks to them for letting me have a go on it. If you want to have a go yourself, give them a shout. I'm sure they'll let you have a ride. So there we have it, folks. That's pretty much it for my first impressions review of the awesome Yamaha MT10 SP. What an amazing bike. I mean, you already know what I think of it. It's a hooligan naked machine. Easy to ride. The electronics just cosset you and make you feel like you can actually ride a bike. There's nothing at all about this bike that I don't like. It is absolutely brilliant. Amazing quick shifter, comfortable, lovely riding position, an engine that sounds glorious and goes like stink. Eminently configurable on the electronics front. Really, really nice bike. This is one of those situations where, you know, it's a hotly contested category with the KTM Super Duke R, the BMW S1000R, all in this range. All great bikes. Now, I know what you're thinking, which bike do I prefer out of those three? Well, up until now it was undoubtedly the KTM Super Duke R, which is an amazing bike. But if I had 13.5 grand spare and I wanted to spend on one of these naked hooligan machines, I would have to ride them both again and think about it very seriously, because this thing is, I think, better than the KTM. Now I say I think because it was a good few weeks ago when I rode the KTM, which is why I'm saying I need to ride them side by side. But this thing just feels faster to me. I love the display. I just love everything about the bike. It's brilliant. My God, it's quick. But then so's the KTM. Yep, so if you're in the market for a hooligan naked, I think for me the BMW S1000 wouldn't even be in the frame. It's just not in the same league to my mind as this bike and the KTM. These two are the clear front runners. Amazing machines. Technology really has come on and made superbike performance, well, stratospheric superbike performance in a comfortable package. Brilliant for us old chaps. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that review, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Until then, this has been the Mr. Fly. Cheerio.